Imagine walking into a room and instantly, without even saying a word, people notice your presence. Not because you flashed some money, not because of the clothes you're wearing, but because of the way you carry yourself. That quiet yet powerful energy that tells everyone, I know who I am, and I don't need anyone's approval to feel complete. That right there is the foundation of attraction, and it has nothing to do with money. Too many men believe that to impress a woman, they must first impress her with their wallet. They think the car they drive, the clothes they wear, or the restaurant they take her to are what will make her want them. But here's the truth. If you strip all of that away, what remains is what actually matters. It's the confidence that comes from within, the self-assurance that makes her feel safe, secure, and drawn to you without even understanding why. Think about the most magnetic people you've ever met. Some of them probably weren't rich. Some of them didn't look like models, yet they had this undeniable aura that made people lean in. When they spoke, made others want to be around them. That's confidence. It's not about arrogance, and it's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about embracing who you are fully, flaws and all, and knowing you don't need external things to validate your worth. When you walk with your head held high, when your body language communicates certainty, when you make eye contact without flinching, you're sending a message that says, I am enough. And trust me, women pick up on that instantly. They can sense insecurity just as easily as they can sense confidence. If you feel like you have to buy her attention, it means you don't yet believe that who you are is enough to hold her attention. But when you truly believe in yourself, that's when the game changes. Confidence is attractive because it signals strength. It shows that you can handle life, that you can handle challenges, that you can handle her emotions when she's vulnerable. A man who doubts himself, who constantly seeks approval, who fears rejection, comes across as unstable. On the other hand, a man who knows his value, who isn't afraid of rejection because he knows it doesn't define him, radiates an energy that is irresistible. Now, let me be clear, confidence is not about being loud or domineering. It's not about trying to control everything around you. Real confidence is quiet. It's calm. It doesn't need to announce itself because it's evident in the way you move, the way you speak, and the way you treat yourself. It's in your posture, your tone of voice, your ability to stand your ground without needing to put others down. And this is something you can build. Confidence isn't something you're either born with or without. It's a muscle. Every time you face a fear, every time you push through discomfort, every time you do something you didn't think you could do, that muscle grows. And women notice it. They notice the man who challenges himself, who refuses to stay small, who embraces life with courage instead of hiding from it. Let's be honest. Money can buy a night out, but it can't buy lasting respect. It can buy attention, but not true admiration. When she looks at you and sees a man who doesn't need anything external to feel complete, she feels safe with you. Safe to be herself. Safe to trust you. Safe to want you. That safety doesn't come from your bank account. It comes from your belief in yourself. The man who relies solely on money will always be replaceable. But the man who stands firm in his confidence, who walks into a room with presence, who speaks with certainty and listens with intent, that man is unforgettable. And here's the best part, you don't have to wait until you make it financially to start being that man. You can step into that energy right now. Start small. Practice holding eye contact a second longer. Speak a little slower with intention instead of rushing your words. Stand tall when you walk. Take care of yourself, not to show off, but because you value yourself. Every little action you take reinforces the truth that you are enough, and that truth will show up in the way people respond to you. You don't need to fake it. You don't need to try too hard. You simply need to own who you are. Confidence is like a magnet. It doesn't chase, it attracts. And when you stop chasing and start embodying that energy, you'll notice the shift. She'll look at you differently, she'll lean in closer, and she'll want to know more about you, not because of what you can give her materially, but because of the way you make her feel in your presence. And that's the secret. When you choose confidence over currency, you become unforgettable. Have you ever spoken to someone and felt like they weren't really listening? Maybe their eyes were darting around the room. Maybe they were already preparing their next response before you even finished your sentence. Now, contrast that with the time someone gave you their full attention. They leaned in, their eyes stayed locked on yours, their words matched their interest, and you walked away feeling heard, valued, even seen. Which one do you think women respond to? It's not the flashy talk, it's not the rehearsed lines, it's the power of authentic communication. When you speak to a woman, she can tell almost instantly if your words are coming from a genuine place or if you're trying to impress her. And here's the thing, when you're trying too hard, when every sentence is an effort to look cool or sound smart, it doesn't land the way you think it does. It actually does the opposite. It makes her feel like you're performing instead of connecting. But when you're relaxed, when you speak from a place of honesty, when you don't filter every word through the fear of rejection, suddenly she feels safe to open up. Real communication is not about having the perfect lines. It's about showing up with sincerity. Women are not drawn to a man who always knows what to say. They're drawn to a man who says what he actually feels, who speaks his truth without worrying about whether it sounds impressive or not. Think about it. How many times have you connected with someone not because of their words, but because of the honesty behind them? That's what she feels when you're authentic. But it's not only about the words you choose. It's about how you deliver them. Your tone matters. Your pauses matter. The way you look at her when she speaks matters. When she's talking and you're genuinely listening, not planning what you'll say next, she feels that presence. Presence is rare today. Most people are distracted, buried in their phones, lost in their own thoughts. But when you give someone your undivided attention, when you hang on to every word they say as if it matters, and it does, you immediately separate yourself from the rest. Listening, real listening, is one of the most powerful tools you can use in communication. And it doesn't mean just nodding along while she talks. It means asking follow-up questions, noticing the details, remembering the things she shares. It means showing her that her words don't go in one ear and out the other. When you remember the small details, when you bring them up later, you're telling her without words, I value you. What you say matters to me. And that's something no amount of money can buy. Authentic communication also means being unafraid to show vulnerability. Too many men think they always have to present themselves as unshakable, emotionless, always in control. But here's the reality: women connect with realness. They want to know the man behind the mask. When you share something about yourself honestly, when you reveal a piece of who you are without worrying if it makes you look weak, it actually makes you stronger in her eyes. Because vulnerability is courage, and courage is deeply attractive. At the same time, authenticity means not saying things you don't mean just to get a reaction. Don't tell her what you think she wants to hear. Don't pretend to agree with her just to avoid conflict. Don't fake interests or exaggerate stories hoping it will impress her. She can feel it. Even if she doesn't call it out, deep down she knows when you're putting on a mask. And nothing kills connection faster than dishonesty. On the other hand, when you're upfront about what you like, what you want, and even what you don't know, she respects that honesty. Now, here's something most people overlook. Authentic communication is not about talking more, it's about talking less but with depth. You don't need to dominate the conversation or fill every silence. Sometimes the pauses are where the real connection happens. A thoughtful look, a warm smile, a moment of silence while you both reflect on what was said, that's more powerful than filling the space with empty words. And let me tell you this, the reason authenticity is so magnetic is because it's rare. In a world where so many people are putting on an act, wearing masks, and trying to fit into roles, someone who dares to simply be themselves is refreshing. It's a breath of fresh air, and that breath is exactly what she craves. So when you're speaking to her, forget about being perfect. Forget about being clever. Forget about trying to sound like someone you're not. Just be there. Be present. Say what you actually mean. Listen with intent. Show her that you're not here to perform. You're here to connect. That connection, built on authentic communication, is what makes her want to be around you, what makes her drawn to your energy, and what makes her feel something real. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what you say, it's about how you make her feel when you say it. Have you ever wondered why sometimes a man who isn't the richest, isn't the most handsome, and doesn't have the flashiest lifestyle can still capture a woman's heart completely? You look at him and think, what does he have that others don't? The answer, more often than not, is emotional intelligence. It's not about what's in his pocket, it's about his ability to connect, to understand, and to respond to her feelings in a way that makes her feel seen and valued. See, women are not only attracted to how a man looks or what he owns. What truly makes her stay, what truly makes her crave your presence, is how you make her feel when she's around you. And feelings are not something you can buy, They are something you create by learning how to read emotions, how to listen without judgment, and how to respond with empathy. That's emotional intelligence in action. Imagine this: she's had a long day, she comes home frustrated, her energy is low, and she's not in the mood to smile. Most men either dismiss it, telling her to get over it, or they take it personally and shut down. But a man with emotional intelligence doesn't do either. He notices. He pays attention to her tone, her body language, the subtle shifts in her energy. And instead of reacting from ego, he responds with understanding. He doesn't try to fix her immediately, he listens. He offers support without making it about himself. That kind of presence makes her feel safe in ways money never can. Because here's the truth. Women don't want a man who just provides material things. They want a man who can provide emotional stability. When she's around you, she doesn't want to feel judged, dismissed, or invisible. She wants to feel like her emotions matter. And when you show her that you not only hear her words, but also understand the feelings behind them, that's when you become irresistible. Emotional intelligence also means knowing how to manage your own emotions. Let's be honest. Relationships will test you. She might say something that triggers you. She might express her feelings in a way that feels overwhelming. If you respond with anger, defensiveness, or silence every time, the connection starts to break. But when you can remain calm, when you can regulate yourself instead of losing control, you show strength. Real strength is not about dominating. It's about staying grounded when emotions are high. That calmness, that stability is what makes her trust you. Another part of emotional intelligence is empathy, not sympathy, not pity, but empathy, the ability to step into her shoes and feel what she feels. When she's excited about something, you share in her joy. When she's nervous, you reassure her. When she's hurt, you comfort her. It doesn't mean you have to solve every problem, but it does mean you care enough to feel with her. And that shared emotional space creates intimacy. It creates a bond that no material gift could ever replace. Here's the thing most men don't realize. Women often test your emotional intelligence without even saying it out loud. She might share something small just to see how you respond. She might tell you about her fears or insecurities, not because she needs you to fix them, but because she wants to know if you'll still accept her. If your response makes her feel safe, valued, and understood, her attraction to you deepens. If you brush it off, minimize it, or make it about yourself, she withdraws. And let's not forget, emotional intelligence is also about communication during conflict. Every relationship will face disagreements. What sets you apart is how you handle them. A man with emotional intelligence doesn't explode, doesn't shut down, and doesn't attack. He listens, he validates, and he works towards understanding. He knows that in a conflict, winning the argument isn't as important as protecting the connection. That ability to fight for the relationship, not against it, makes her respect you on a whole new level. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect or know exactly what to say every time. Emotional intelligence isn't about perfection. It's about effort. It's about paying attention, being aware, and choosing to respond instead of react. And every time you practice this, every time you choose understanding over ego, you're building trust. You're showing her that you're not just another man chasing her attention, you're the man who can handle her heart. Because at the end of the day, anyone can make her laugh, anyone can take her out, anyone can buy her something nice. But not everyone can make her feel safe enough to be vulnerable, secure enough to open her heart, and cherished enough to trust fully. That's the power of emotional intelligence. And when you master it, she won't just want you, she'll feel connected to you in a way that makes her never want to let go. Have you ever met someone and instantly felt there was something magnetic about them? Not because of how they looked, not because of what they had, but because of the way they carried themselves with direction and purpose. There's something incredibly attractive about a person who knows where they're going in life. It draws people in, it sparks curiosity, and it makes others want to be a part of their journey. And for a woman, this quality is more powerful than any car you drive, any brand you wear, or any amount of money you spend. See, purpose is like fuel. It gives your life meaning, it gives your actions weight, and it makes you stand out without trying. When a man lives with purpose, it shows in everything he does, in the way he wakes up, the way he talks, the way he makes decisions. Women are naturally drawn to that kind of man because he's not drifting through life waiting for things to happen. He's making things happen. A lot of men think they need to impress a woman with material things, but here's the truth: if you don't have direction, if you don't have something you're chasing that's bigger than yourself, then none of those things will hold her attention for long. A man with no purpose might attract her curiosity for a moment, but a man with ambition captures her respect and her admiration. Respect is the foundation of desire, and when she respects your drive, everything else follows. Purpose doesn't mean you need to have everything figured out. It doesn't mean you need to be at the top of your career or already living your dream. What matters is that you're on the journey. You know where you want to go, and you're taking steps to get there. That's what creates that spark in your eyes, that determination in your voice, that fire in your presence. She doesn't need you to have reached the destination. She just needs to see that you're walking toward it with focus. Ambition is magnetic because it shows her that you won't settle for less than what you're capable of. It tells her that you have standards, not just for her, but for yourself. And that kind of energy makes her want to rise to the occasion too. A woman doesn't want to feel like she's carrying the entire weight of the relationship, dragging along someone with no vision. She wants to stand beside a man who's going somewhere, a man who inspires her with his commitment to growth. Think about it. How do you feel when you're around someone who's passionate about what they do? You feel energized, don't you? Their passion is contagious. That's exactly how she feels when she sees you deeply engaged in your purpose. It doesn't matter if your purpose is building a business, creating art, excelling in your career, or making a difference in your community. What matters is that you're committed to it and consistent with it. That consistency is what sets you apart. Now here's something important. A man with purpose doesn't get easily swayed. He's not desperate for approval because he already knows what he stands for. He doesn't cling to a woman out of fear of being alone because his life already has meaning beyond the relationship. Ironically, this is exactly what makes her want to be with him more. She sees that you're not needy, you're not lost, you're not relying on her to give your life direction. Instead, you're inviting her to join a journey that's already in motion. That invitation, unspoken but deeply felt, is irresistible. This is also why discipline is so attractive. When you stay committed to your goals, when you refuse to give up even when it's hard, she sees your strength. And strength isn't just about physical power. It's about your ability to keep moving forward, to push past obstacles, to stay true to your vision. That's the kind of man who makes her feel like she can trust not just his words, but his actions. Purpose also builds confidence. When you're working on something meaningful, you don't need external validation as much. You know you're moving in the right direction, and that assurance radiates from you. Women notice this. They notice the man who walks with certainty, who doesn't waste time complaining or blaming, but takes responsibility for his path. That kind of man doesn't have to chase, he attracts. And here's the beautiful part: your purpose doesn't just benefit you. It benefits the relationship. When you're fulfilled, when you're passionate, when you're growing, you show up as a better partner. You're not drained, you're not resentful, you're not looking for her to fill the emptiness in your life. Instead, you bring fullness to the table, and she feels that energy. She feels lucky to be with someone who inspires her, challenges her, and shows her what it means to live with direction. So if you've been wondering what makes her truly want you, understand this: money fades, looks fade, but purpose lasts. A man with vision will always be in demand because vision is rare. And when you carry that energy with you, when you live with ambition and direction, she won't just want you for now, she'll want you for the long run. Because nothing is more attractive than a man who knows where he's going and invites her to walk beside him.